And one. We are live.
Well, folks, good morning. Phoenix Business Exchange East End Edition. Here we are on this fine November 12th. And you know what? The weather's starting to ease up a bit. We're having just maybe some freezing rain today, just in case you're wondering what to do next. Rain and or light snow. So I'm sure freezing rain can't be too far out of the deal. And so I'm going to share a quick screen here. And the purpose behind the screen share is to show you what's going on. Oh, look at that. Member of the week. There she is. Wendy Chung. Wendy, what's going on, eh? And if you want to know what Wendy does for a living, you click the e-card or you spin the dial here on the YouTube channel and you'll find out that Wendy is a realtor and she's a really good realtor. So, but the devil's in the details. That means you have to get in there and connect with her. To connect with the chapters, today, Wednesday, 8 to 9 Eastern, click here. Just come on in. If you're a business, you want to promote yourself, you want to get more mileage, this is kind of like a marketing effort. This is how you get the word of mouth connections as well as promotions. We do this also Monday morning too, by the way, Bell's Corners, and on Thursday morning, South End Group. And then on December 2nd, we're having an after hours group. And this is more dedicated to the membership of Phoenix, the folks inside. And if they have any projects they're working on, I want to stay on top of it, and this is kind of a accountability group, and that's run by Penny Lee. East Trade Winds, hey, there you go. Tuesdays, just come on in, and it's no cost, and it's a networking group that covers folks in across Ontario, Canada, and overseas, and a little bit in the U.S. Meanwhile, on 1:30 and on a Friday, Tony will have his meditation class on the go. Really handy place. You can get real zen. Then we also have sound bathing November 26th. And if you were watching yesterday's presentation or the day before's presentation for sound bathing, that would have been Monday. Tony did a little sample of what sound bathing sounds like and what it, just kind of gets a good chill into your headspace. Penny, meanwhile, is also dancing away, and movement is medicine with Neo classes, both online and in person. So just click that button and follow the rabbit hole. Friends Friday Potluck. Speaking of another moment in time, November 14th, and that's this week at 6:30 p.m. is a Friday potluck with Penny Lee. Not online, in person, bring food. South End River Lounge, November 27th, 7:30 a.m. Now, what's happening there? So we have our Thursday group that's typically 8 to 9. Well, on the 27th, there's an in-person component as well as a online component. And it starts at 7:30 a.m. and come on in. QR directory. So what's that all about? Well, if you see somebody talking today or hear somebody talking today or you want to know more about their business, click here. And that's the directory of all the members inside Phoenix. You want to apply? There's that red button. Just tickle that button and you'll go on a journey. We've got some numbers here. We've e-cards. We're at 3,600. So what's an e-card? Oh, by the way, you see the QR code over my shoulder. That's part of the e-card, and that makes for a frictionless way for people to reach you, whether you want to do it by text, email, website, content information, etc. We've done between members, we've done over $4.9 million worth of business, almost close to 4.497. You read the number on the screen. I'm not saying it right. So you know what? If you just go off that number, that's been since 2016, just between members going back and forth. Referrals this year to date, $175,000 worth of business has been conducted between members. That's from anything from, pure trim products, social media, housing, brakes, because we all like to brake, or tires, or you went for a tune or a sound bath. And speaking of brakes and other stuff, I'm going to swing over because Sam is going to do the educational minute. And Sam, over to you, sir.
Thank you, Bernie. Good morning, everyone. Let's see here. Well, it's wintertime hit Ottawa here just lately, and I have to warn you about, just running out there and just buying any kind of tire for your winter tires. A lot of people rushing around. I've been in several shops the last day getting parts, and people just like chickens in their heads cut off, just buying anything and everything when it comes to winter tires, as long as it says winter tires on the side. You got to be really careful. There's lots to choose from, and there's lots of really bad tires out there. Spend the time. Don't be in a rush. Do some research. A lot of stuff is online, and they'll warn you about tires that they're really noisy or they're just no good in wet or winter conditions, even though they say winter tires inside, does not mean that they're a good tire. Just don't. My warning here is don't buy the cheapest tire. It may be a good tire. You might get lucky, but the chances are if you're buying, a set of tires for 500 bucks, winter tires for your car, chances are they're not going to be a good tire. But you might get lucky. I'm not going to say you can't, but spend the time. Please do some research, ask around. Don't just go on price alone. You may regret it. You get those tires on your car and you get up to highway speed and it sounds like you're inside of a washing machine. It's just not something you want to spend your money uselessly. Sorry, wastefully on. So that's my warning. If you want more information, I'm gladly pass along what I know about tires. I don't sell tires, as Kat found out the other day. I don't sell them, but I've been around cars for a lot of years, and I bought many tires. I've had bad tires. I don't mind saying I've had my experience with bad tires. So I would gladly, at no charge, give you some recommendations on what tires to buy. That's it for me, Sam Sturz. Back to you, Bernie.
Sam, thank you so much. That's our LinkedIn live post in the chat. So post some details about what's going on in your space. And also, here we have Penny Lee, who is looking for, she's not looking for a lawyer, but if you know someone that is a lawyer, we're looking to have that incorporated into our group and have that person reach out to Penny Lee. So the fickle finger of fate's going to spin the dial. We're going to start off with Susan McGarry, and then we will do Sam, and then Kat. Susan, tell us a story, ma'am.
Morning. Thank you so much, Bernie. I'm Susan McGarry with Pure Trim Wellness. I help business people feel lighter in their joints, steadier in their energy, and brighter in their skin using simple Mediterranean-based supplements and one-on-one support, of course. If you're juggling work, family, life, you know how easy it is to get tired, sore, or run down. Most people try more coffee or random vitamins, but that just patches symptoms instead of helping the body repair itself. What I do is simplify. We start with one or two proven supplements like the Daily Complete for full spectrum nutrients, Joint Mist and joint control for comfort and flexibility, and a clean Mediterranean shake that keeps you full and steady. I'll check in personally with the person that you refer me to help them direct them in what they need to do next. A quick story, I recently took a pretty big fall and no lingering pain after. I realized something very important. We don't plan our falls. So it's important to have these products in your system working before something does happen. That consistency made all the difference for me. So, in that being said, if better energy, mobility, recovery sounds good to you, let's connect. I have a short 5-minute educational video and a 14-day starter plan. I can email you today. I'm Susan McGarry with Pure Trim. Drop your email in the chat or save video after the meeting and I'll send it along over. I'm doing ongoing business with Kat. We're working due diligently on my business, which has been incredible. I've got ongoing business with Eric and Matt, who aren't here today, that absolutely love the bars. They're using them as part of their groceries. And a great testimonial, if I can share, about Q. We met about 3 years ago. She said, Sue, just put $100 away every month. I'm like, what's $100? You don't miss it, right? Well, that worked out to $3,600. And we just had a meeting just recently, and that 32 turned into $5,600. So just having that little conversation with our little Q, I made over $2,000. So if you're looking for a financial advisor, man, I can't emphasize the skill and gifts that Q has. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend.
Susan, thank you so much. This next quick promo is about from the Canada Growth Network. And if you're looking for a website, CRM, etc., dollar in for the first month and 39 thereafter, Canadian. And it's not, you're not locked in. So if you decide to peel out, you still can. You can always do that. Mr. Sam, over to you, sir.
Thank you again, Bernie. Sam Sturz, connectedcars.ca. There's my contact information in the chat. Well, let's see. Dash cameras are my main thing. Electronics in cars. In fact, I gave someone a estimate yesterday for a backup camera. If your backup camera on your vehicle is kind of foggy, like this person's was, I have done it before, and I can install a new one for you. They're often a lot cheaper online than going to the dealer. They charge. Well, I had let's say a Range Rover. That was a couple of years back, and he wanted a new one. And he went to the dealership, and they wanted $750 just for the lens. And one reason why I don't recommend Range Rovers to anybody. but anyway, I can get often these backup lenses much cheaper online and install them for a good price. So you don't have to worry about if you go to put your car in reverse and that camera's looking awfully bad. You can't see out of it. Let me know. I can usually take care of it. Let's see. I mentioned tires. I do winter tires, doing lots of that these days. And I want to talk about one thing when it comes to tires on rims. You can't buy steel rims. That's often what you see people driving around, especially in Ottawa in the wintertime, these black steel rims. Very common. They are forgiving when it comes to bashing into curbs and things. Steel is more flexible than an alloy rim, but they do rust. If you haven't noticed your own, maybe you noticed other people's, these steel rims, they tend to break down with all the salt that we put on our roads. So I'm a person that believes in these alloy rims. I like the look of them better than these steel rims. But one difficulty with the alloy rims, or I call them mag rims, is that they're not very forgiving. If you are a person who runs into things like curbs, these things will crack, and they don't bend like steel; they crack. So if you're going to put these mag rims or these alloy rims on, look nicer in the wintertime, don't run into curbs because they're going to cost you a lot more money than the steel ones. Let's see here. Besides that, BAMS wise, Eric Sonego did an oil change on his vehicle last week. Bernie was going to see me tomorrow, but he's got a priority, so he's going to delay that for a little bit. And Steve Brennickmeyer, he's still a member of Phoenix, I think in the late hours one now, and I'm going to see him next week. That's it for me, Sam Sturz, connectedcars.ca. Today's mobile electronics without the cost of new vehicle and winter tire installations too.
What Sam's telling you, he has an open slot tomorrow. That's all you need to get. FYI. Yeah, something about brakes, and if the brakes aren't working, not a good idea to be driving around the roads. East Trade Winds. There's the link to come on in. You click it once, and you can just roll in, or click it once and save it to your calendar. And Kat Hurt did a presentation, and that's on there. It's about Google and understanding Google, part 2. Speaking of Kat, over to you.
Hi everybody, so I'm going to be random today and I want to talk about YouTube. So I've just started working with a brand new client who specializes, and I'm sad to say she's not a Canadian, so my apologies. So she's got this podcast, and basically, I don't know if you've ever done podcasts, I know a couple of you have. It's a lot of work. So basically I'm going to help her do a lot of the back end stuff for her podcast. And the biggest issue she's got is she doesn't understand YouTube. So when I looked at her YouTube channel, she's not getting views and everything. The reason she's not getting views is because she doesn't know how to write the description. She doesn't know how to use the tags. She doesn't know how to connect with other pages and things. So what I'm doing is I'm helping people to manage their YouTube channels so that they know how to connect with people. They're tagging the right things, they're adding the right tags and doing everything like that. So if you or somebody you know has a YouTube channel that has zero traction, or it might as well have zero traction, then I would love to have a conversation to see how we can get your YouTube channel up to speed, for want of a better way of saying it. And I think the only new thing I've done since Monday, other than having conversations with Tony and Susan and Wendy, and snow conversations with Sam, would be I went to East Trade Winds yesterday. I think it was yesterday.
Yes.
Good.
Yes, it's still Wednesday today. Yes.
Thank you.
Do I run through that checklist too? What day of the week are we in? So I know where to show up.
Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Our next quick prompt. We're also looking for an audiologist, and so we can listen to the words spoken. Have the person reach out to Penny Lee. It's just another medical practitioner, and I will swing over to Tony next.
Well, thank you, Bernie. When you were saying audio, I says, "What was that?" Hi, everybody. Tony Jennis from Higher Self. I'm the spirit guy of the group. I'm a medium and clairvoyant. And what I love is frequency. Sound is really the healing energy of the future. It used to be actually the healing energy of the past, but things have changed because there's not a lot of money when you're just listening to nature and bringing nature into to bring ourselves healthy. There was a time in our human history that's all we were doing is just listening and using nature as part of our pharmacy. And then, things changed because it just it worked out that way. But we're all going back in that way. We always people say, let's go back to basics. Because whatever I'm doing right now isn't working, So if you got, I'm getting a lot of calls for back pain, a lot of calls for leg issues, knee problems, and all of those are connected to a certain emotion. For instance, the knees are connected to trust. If there's some way that somebody scammed you in the past, or if there's things people had done, said one thing, did another, and they betrayed your trust, and you say, never again am I going to trust anybody, that will affect your knees, especially your right knee. The right knee is connected to trust in others, and the left knee is connected to trusting in yourself. When we say, oh yeah, if I had this much money, I don't know if I could trust myself to be able to manage it, that kind of thing. You don't trust yourself to be able to go to a casino and not spend the whole, farm on it. Some people are like that. They just don't trust themselves because I guess the temptation is too high. So that will affect your left knee. So when people come in for various physical issues, I always look at the root cause and the emotional cause of whatever's going on. And then all the things that we're taking, whether regardless what it is, creams or whatever pills that we're doing, it just suppresses whatever is happening. You don't feel the pain, but it's still there. It's just that we don't feel it. So we're doing a lot of things with our nervous system so we don't feel it. But sound is very, very potent. We could look at the 528, for instance, frequency, and in that way it is a certain tone. Our whole body is set up with different frequencies. Whether it's the throat, the heart, they all have a different tone, a different note. So in a sense that your whole body is like a piano. It's just like music. So as long as you could play the right music for that person or that body part, then everything starts coming back into harmony in time. It just takes longer. It's not like a hit, like taking a pill and within 15 minutes, boy, do you feel it, It's more preventative medicine. It's more of the vibrational part that if we keep listening to certain sounds, for instance, it's very, very powerful. So when people have any pain at all, give me a call. There are a lot of things I could do, whether you come in person or whether it's remote. We did one a few days ago where a person was in South America. A long-time customer I've had since 10 years, and she felt very sad that she had to move, but it didn't matter because we kept working each other, and I did most of it through distance. So it's all done that way. So Tony Jennis from Higher Self. We are here to raise your spirits. And just in terms of business, ongoing business with Eric Senego and Kat. I love you. Kat's just amazing. We're having a meeting over the weekend where I'm always meeting with Kat in some respect because she has so much to offer because she sees things in a different perspective. I see it in spirit, and I'm always trying to translated what it means physically, and when Kat speaks, it's like okay. And so mine is just making the bridge between physical and spiritual. So anyway, that's how I work with her, and it always works out great. Ongoing business with Rahal. We're still working on our website for that sound bot, or the AI bot. That's really cool. As we add more pages, it just self updates itself. And Bernie, I was there with your East Trade Winds. A great group you're doing there, sir. It takes a lot of work. And more business going to Josh. I'm trying to get a Office 365 going. Got my new computer, but I don't have Excel or Word or anything. So he has a good deal on Office 365. So if you're looking for that, he's a good person to go to. It's going to be less than half the price getting it through him. So that caught my eye anyway. Okay. So, just a quick announcement for the Christmas party, December the 6th. Mark it on your calendar if you want to get together. We're going to be meeting at a place called Calypso on Bank Street. It's a Greek restaurant. Marvelous. Kat's been working on it, and Penny Lee. And it's a great thing. Between 2 to 4, it's going to be around $40 per person. If you want to come join us, that'll be great to have one last sort of a meeting together personally in that way. And on New Year's Gala, we bought another table in there. We had a section of eight spots in that, and 6 of them are already gone. So we have 2 left, with the potential of 2 more if we could put 2 more chairs around this big table. So anyway, if you're interested, let me know. The tickets are around $200, and it's going to be like a 7-course meal. Like it's beautiful. Horace does an amazing job in the food, and the entertainment is stellar. It's just it's a beautiful night. We'll have some wine and champagne at the table. So hope to see you guys there, whoever is going to be coming. All right. And back to you, Bernie.
Oh, Tony, thank you so much. Kat, you have your hand up.
Yeah, just before somebody goes and looks up anything Tony says, the restaurant is called Callisto, not Calypso. Callisto, and it's
Callisto.
It's at 1290 Bank Street.
Yeah.
If that helps. Okay.
Only
Sorry,
when you're
Brian.
showing up. No, don't be. Showing up at the right place. Calypso, there's a water theme park.
Yes.
And December 6th would not be an ideal date because
I think they have a hot dog stand. That's
well, it's more an ice rink than anything else, eh? So, Kat, thank you so much. And Kat just demonstrated her value to your business and promoting. And I'm just kind of circling back into this. Here's the other element of that in regards to Kat. If you have content you want to share with the community at large, you either have an event, something that's coming up, public service announcement, not all snow tires are equal, right? Having that piece, Kat can push that message out across the different Phoenix mediums. The next thing I just want to kind of share is Mr. Carl Richards got something going on shortly on the 19th from 11 to 1. So it's a session where he is. He's got some experts doing the soundbite and those good things about soundbites, understanding what's involved and doing your audio brand. And, there are some restaurants that we've seen that type of stuff happen. And usually they are the Arches. And I won't give them a free plug because they're not members. And so for myself, creative insight. I talk to people and business concierge. I connect people. People tell me stuff and I'm going, hey, you got something handy. Rahel is a good example. And I said, listen, you should come to Phoenix and then, live long and prosper. Kat seen the deal with the Canada Growth Network and said, hey, and live long and prosper. And Kat, by the way, is giving us at least outside of the Phoenix group, introduced 2 to 3 more people into this space. So thank you, Kat. And again, East Trade Winds, there was Tony and Kat and Jacqueline showing up. So that was good. And again, you're making more connections. Some of the stuff, You may not have somebody's snow tires to change, but you know that some of the cross connections sometimes might have another value added service, or you have a public service announcement and they go, "It's not all snow tires are equal." And if you happen to be in Scotland and you happen to get snow tires, at least you know if that's not your normal fare, then you know, right? Not necessarily for you, but other people you're dealing with. And without much ado, the wonderful, spectacular Wendy Chung, over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, and good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. So I'm not sure what the weather is doing, Kat, where you are, but we're getting a light snow. Do you get snow where you are?
We do,
Yeah.
but not anywhere like yours. We've just got rain today, Wendy.
Okay. Well, we're getting some rain as well coming this way. So yeah, we'll see that happening a little bit later this week. But yes, good morning to everyone. I'm the real estate broker in this group. And let me just start with some housekeeping. I have ongoing business with Kat. Kat, thank you so much for all your patience and all your great ideas. You're just amazing. You know, I'm so happy that we've connected and that we're working together. I've also got some ongoing business with Matt. I just sent him a referral, Tony, so hopefully that will pan out for him. And also with Susan Ebbs and also Jacqueline. We're always trying to refer clients back and forth. So thank you very much this morning for the introduction, Bernie. And so I'm just going to skip ahead to a short presentation, and then after that, I'll take whatever questions you have. Oh. Am I still on?
You're up, but if you're sharing a screen, it has not populated.
It hasn't populated. Okay, just one moment. Okay. There.
Starting. There you go. You're up.
Perfect. So let me just. Okay. Is everyone able to see my screen?
You're fully up and running, 100%.
Okay, awesome. So So I'm going to talk about real estate solutions for some of the market challenges that we're seeing. Now, I can only speak to the Ottawa real estate market because, as we all know, real estate is very hyper local. So whenever you hear on the news, you know, real estate's doing this, it's doing that, it's all very general. So I don't like to talk about things in general. I always like to address real estate solutions, challenges, and all of that based on the local market. So right now, we're seeing a very sluggish market. And having that understanding is going to help folks to realize what they need to do or what they need not to do. So here's the question. Why sellers are not selling? That's a big one. You know, there are many factors. And one of the factors is just market related. The current market conditions are showing that there's a very high inventory. So there's a lot of homes for sale and not an equal amount of buyers in the marketplace. And so because of that, there's more competitive pricing. What I mean by that is that the sellers have to adjust their expectation to a lower price point in order for them to be able to realize a successful sale in today's market. And that can also cause homes to sit longer on the market. So in the days past, say in the last 3-4 years, homes were selling within a week. But now the average days on market is more like 30 to 90 days. So that's not unusual. Another reason why properties are not selling is because of the way the property is presented to the public. There are still a lot of agents that do not recommend staging. Staging is a huge benefit to the seller because the way you sell and the way you present the way you sell and the way you live are two different mindsets. So definitely staging is something that I use with each and every one of my listings. Also, there's a lot of agents that still use their cell phones to take their photos of the properties. And as we know, the cell phone technology has come a long way. although you can take amazing pictures, it's not always the best. So hiring a professional photographer to be on your team when you're listing a property is also very important. The last one is something that we can't control entirely. So really it falls on the shoulders of the homeowners. Their efforts to not only keep the house clean and tidy, but also to make sure that they don't let things go. For example, in the wintertime, they have to make sure that they always clear the snow off their driveway, off their walkway, because you never know when there's going to be a showing request. And there's liability associated with someone visiting your home and, say, falling on your driveway. So there's always these small little details, which are actually big details for a lot of buyers. So making sure that your house is always appealing is also very, very important. Okay, so marketing and financing issues. These are challenges that are impacting sales right now. So marketing shortcomings, so limited exposure, depending on the agent. Some agents just throw the listing up on the MLS, hoping that there'll be the perfect buyer that comes along. But we have learned that over the years, marketing is extremely important for our seller clients in order to get the right exposure. So also using different social media channels and other creative ways to get your listing out there is actually very, very important, because you don't know where your buyers are going to discover the property. Financing and condition. So many buyers are also facing difficulties with their financing. As you know, the banks have the last word when it comes to giving their final approval for a mortgage. All the clients that I work with, all the buyers have to be pre-approved before I'm going to step foot and start showing them properties. And the reason for that is not only to save my time and effort, but also the time and efforts of the buyers, the listing agent, and the sellers. So we have to make sure that buyers are pre-qualified prior to going out. Also, with the interest rates, now the interest rates are starting to come down, and that's a good thing. But again, they still have to qualify with the lender. So we have various lenders, A lenders, B lenders, for example, whatever they qualify for and however that looks, it's up to the mortgage specialist to help the buyers to structure that in a way that makes sense for them. And obviously, every home has its short list of home repairs. No house is 100% perfect. So buyers also have to budget for repairs that will be coming due, and that's part of the home ownership as well. So expectations of sellers and buyers, longer days on market, as we know. So some of the expectations of the sellers is that they want to push the market. They want to list their property higher than the past sales. So that's not always the best strategy, because what happens is, when they do get an offer, if an appraisal is required by the lender for the buyer and it comes back disproportionate, the buyers have to come up with the difference in the price between the appraisal amount and the purchase price. And that's not always a possibility for buyers, because money is tight for everyone. Sellers are also looking for the right buyer, saying that, oh, you know what, the timing might be good. We're hopeful that the right buyer is out there. They're going to pay us what we want. But it's not always about what the seller wants. It's what the market will afford. Also, sellers are always having in the back of their mind, my house is better than all other houses. That's very subjective, of course. Now, for buyers, what are their expectations? Well, it takes more time for them to decide, because they're picky, and they have a right to be picky. They're always looking for a 10 out of 10 home, but they're never going to find it. They're probably going to land on something between 7 out of 10 and maybe 8 out of 10. And then the other numbers are just going to be filled in as they get into home ownership and they customize a home to what will give them that 10 out of 10. Buyers are often offering less money because the home is not perfect, and also because there's enough inventory out there that the buyers have some power to decide how they want to negotiate. And if things don't work out with the seller, they might just decide to move on to the next one. So the sellers are a little bit on the hook to work with a buyer if they should get an offer in this market. Obviously, there's lots of inventory, so buyers are not in a rush and they want to just keep on looking. Effective solutions. So implementing strategic approaches to enhance home sales and attract buyers. So this is a picture of a property that I recently listed and sold this year. And the room you're looking at is the front living space. So when I was called by the seller, they were frustrated with their current agent who didn't do any staging and just sort of took the listing and just went to market. So this picture that you're seeing was actually what we ended up doing when I took over the listing. But before that, it was more of an eating area. So this home was never designed for that front area to be an eating area. And so that kind of threw off buyers when they were touring the property. And also the other thing was the house was overpriced by over $100,000. So that did not help the seller at all. So when I came in, I had a completely different approach and solution, and we were able to sell within the 60 days. They were extremely happy with everything because they were able to move on to their next move. So again, competitive pricing strategies are extremely important. Professional staging techniques. I targeted my marketing campaign and I reintroduced the property after taking it off the market in a completely different light, in the light that made sense to the buyers in today's market. Financing, flexible financing options. Again, my sellers were actually willing to do a take back, a mortgage take back with any buyer. But I recommended to my sellers not to be involved and allow the buyers to get their own financing outside of being tied to the buyer who wanted to buy their home. And everything at the end of the day worked out, it closed, and everybody was happy. Why buyers are not buying? So financial challenges and perceptions, again, just to repeat again, many potential buyers are facing significant financial barriers. Mortgage qualification criteria is very strict, and of course, rising and falling interest rates might deter them from entering in the market. I have a lot of clients that are coming to me, and these are people that make a very good living. But for whatever circumstances, either they're still rather new to Canada, they're permanent residents now, or they're just not ready because they don't know where they want to live in this city, but they want to continue renting for the time being. And that's absolutely fine, because getting into home ownership, you are tied into a mortgage for, say, between 3, 4, and 5 years. So they're not quite ready to make that commitment. Also, their market perception. The buyers are still uncertain about what the economics, are going to be in the future. So they have a fear of overpaying for property today. And if their circumstances were to change in the next couple of years, would they be able to get their money back? So that's causing some hesitation and inactivity in the marketplace where people are not quite ready to make a purchase. Other key obstacles are the inventory that they're seeing online is just not, to their liking. So they're waiting for that perfect property in the right location with the features they're looking for and in the price range. The process is also very daunting. So I always recommend, and I always put myself out there when I'm meeting people for the first time that don't have an agent, whether they're tenants or buyers, to let them know that they need to interview and meet with enough realtors and select someone that they feel that they could build a relationship with and build some confidence with, because the process itself, there's so much paperwork involved and it's very complicated, and it's very difficult for someone who's never experienced purchasing a property is to do everything on their own. It's not recommended. Solutions for buyers. So addressing buyer barriers through education and streamlined process. So this is a picture of Fong and Sarah. I actually met them at an open house a couple of months ago in a completely different area of where they ended up buying. And it took about 3 meetings with them for them to decide that I was going to be the right fit to help them through this very complex buying process. And I was very pleased that they selected me. And in the end, they bought a home within their price range in their first choice area, and they actually closed and they've now moved in. So things take a lot of time, and I realize that. And so I'm not a pushy person, but I do put my services out there that I am available to help you if you so choose to work with me. And I go through my presentation explaining to them that my purpose and my motivation is to make sure that they are feeling empowered and they're going to make the right decision when the time comes. So education is a big factor and a big plus when you're working with me. So I have a buyer education program that helps them understand the market. Incentive offering, sometimes I'll offer moving boxes to my clients, which is helpful because it's an additional expense that they don't have to then be out of pocket for. Streamlining the buying process for an easy transaction just helps them to feel at ease that I have everything in place and they don't have to worry about what's the next step. Also, just expanding their property options to meet their diverse needs. At the end of the day, clients are always happy. So being proactive real estate strategies are overcoming market challenges. So to navigate the real estate landscape, I have a lot of strategic pricing policies, enhancing marketing efforts, and empowering buyers with education resources to facilitate successful transactions. And empowering buyers to succeed. Everyone is always happy. So this is another couple that I helped earlier this year. So please contact me, get in touch to discuss your next move, and here are my contact details. Any questions? Sam.
Go for it, Sam.
I knew I was going to ask a question, Wendy.
Of course.
Okay, when it comes to owning a home, what are some things to stay away from, say, renovations? What are things that deter future buyers that you would say would not such a good idea to add to a home, or how to renovate a house? Such as buying a pool at one time was not a good idea. What are the things you're saying you might know that are deterrents when they go to sell?
Yeah, what a great question, Sam. So I have this conversation all the time. It really depends on the lifestyle of the current homeowner. We know that in today's market, the forever home is not really forever anymore, right? It's a 5 to 10 year investment usually for most families, depending on where they land. So if you are putting in a pool, you have to understand that when you're ready to sell the property down the road, that you're not going to get any extra money because you spent $50,000 on that pool. However, you spent that $50,000 because you, your family, and your kids wanted that pool, and you've enjoyed it for the last 10, 15 years. Now, there are buyers out there that I work with that are specifically looking for a home with an in-ground pool because they don't want to incur the cost of having all that invested, but they want to buy a home with it. So when I list a home with a pool, I don't add an extra $50,000 to it on top of what the market value is, because it just doesn't work that way. But there will be targeted buyers who are specifically putting in their criteria that I need a home with a pool, and that's that. Some people will love the home, but they'll say, but I didn't want a pool. So it's a question of, do you still want to buy it, or do you want to look at other properties? So adding a pool doesn't necessarily add a value for all of the buyers that are in the marketplace, but it will be very appealing to those buyers who want a pool. And there are a lot of buyers that want a pool. So what I always recommend is if you're going to do any updates at all, make sure you look at your kitchen, your bathrooms, and your flooring. Okay, so I have a client who I listed their property, and their interlock driveway was the older type of interlock, but it's interlock, right? And it's not in perfect shape. So they asked me, should we be spending $30,000 to redo the interlock? Absolutely not. You will not get a penny of that back. You are in the process of selling your property. You have interlock. It's not perfect. Allow the next owner to make whatever additional improvements they want to make, because that's a big ticket item. Also, I noticed some people, their roof shingles have come due, so they asked me, should I just go with the architectural shingles, or should I put a metal roof on, which has a lifetime warranty? Well, the metal roof will cost you double, if not triple the amount these days. So you're not getting your money back. So what is the point of spending that money, even though it looks beautiful and there's a lifetime warranty on it? Don't invest for the future next owner of your property. Just do the minimal, but choose proper architectural shingles, because that's going to help you realize a good sale. Because somebody buying the property knows that they don't need to do it because your roof shingles needed to be done. I also, just to add to that, I also recommend, if you're going to make improvements to your home, don't do it just before you're ready to sell. Do it when you can, budget for it, so that you can enjoy all of those upgrades and improvements for yourself before you move on to your next property.
Yeah.
Wendy, I got a question for you.
Yes.
So, speaking with a neighbor the other day, and they ended up buying a property with a pool, and they were going through they were revisiting their pool. They're going to put a whole new one in there. And it turns out that the pool that was installed did not meet code to city, because I guess it was partially buried in the ground. So when you're having a person that says, "Hi, I'm selling my property and I've got X, Y, and Z on the property," pools in this case is kind of the highlight topic. Is there any legacy issues a person might be mindful of? There's a proper term, and it's totally eluding me right now. But does it have a permit?
To grandfather it in or something.
Yeah.
No, that's a really good.
Also.
Yeah, that's a really good question, Bernie, and that's an additional cost, unfortunately, that these folks are feeling like they have to take on. So generally speaking, the buyer agent who represented the buyers who bought the property with the pool should have put in a particular clause that protects the buyer against the seller, and that is that the pool, as far as the sellers know, would have met, the bylaws and the rules and regulations when it was installed. Now, if it wasn't the current or just the previous sellers who installed the pool, but the sellers before, then if there's a cost incurred, I believe they might be able to go back to their lawyer and use their title insurance to help with some of those costs. And that's why they sell you title insurance, to protect you against previous ongoings that might not be correct, so that if you're on the hook to correct it, there's a process involved in that. So maybe that would be the best advice, to go recommend they go back to their lawyer and have a discussion with them. Take a look at the agreement of purchase and sale and figure out, if there's a recourse to the previous seller, or if it goes further back, they may have to use their title insurance to help them rectify and remedy the situation.
Good.
Perfect.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I have a quick question. Is there a tax right now, Wendy, when people sell? Is that in place right now? So if you make over $250,000, do you have to pay that So that's not in there yet.
No, not that I'm aware of. No, I've never heard of that. And I hope that that never happens, because I think that the government was talking about capital gains for your principal residence. That is, in my opinion, completely out of left field. That's just not fair at all. You know, everybody knows that when they are purchasing property, that there is going to be equity there, and you want to make sure that you're always investing more into it to be able to reap the rewards when you sell your principal residence. It's different when it's an income property, right? You have to pay capital gains on that, and Eric can definitely touch on that subject a bit more. But I'm hoping that that never comes into place. You know, that you get taxed for your own principal residence. That wouldn't be fair. Yeah.
Might as well rent then.
Well, that's it, right, Tony? Like, then you're not encouraging home ownership, but there's so much.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Go for it, Sam.
Just on that subject though, but if we were to sell our cottage, right, not our principal residence, that would be subject to capital gains, would it not?
You know what? That might be a bit of a gray area, because you're using it almost like a second home, right? So I think that's a bit of a gray area. I think you might be able to sell it as your second home. There might be some tax implication involved, but maybe not complete. So it might be best to talk to your accountant about that. Yeah.
Yeah, if you had it as
I'm not planning
a
on selling it, believe me.
I understand. Yeah, but it's a good question. Yeah.
Yeah, if you use it as a B&B, as a as a hotel or something for years, and you're renting it out to cottagers and stuff, that might be different because it's a business.
True.
Yeah.
I think it depends how you declare the income from that property. That will determine how you're going to get treated.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's a question
true.
for Eric, I think. Yeah, he might
Yeah.
be.
Or-
but I know you're not selling, so it's all good.
Yeah, Bernie's not going to sell. He just made all these renovations in his place.
I'm going to enjoy it. Trust me. And
Yep.
it's
Get
like-
a few
it feels
years
like,
out of it.
You know, between 2 bathrooms and a kitchen. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yowzer. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the disruption level, oh, that was just wonderful. Good guys, good crew, super good crew. The workers are good, but yeah, we're done. We're good. And then we're looking at other parts of the house, like doing the flooring, etc. Elsewhere, it's like, oh yeah. Got to put the furniture somewhere. You know, it's not like it disappears magically. It's not fold away camping furniture. Anyhow, I'm rambling, and it's 9:03. And you know what? Quote for the day: "Don't announce moves, confirm arrivals." Our bathrooms and kitchen have arrived. So there we go.